What up, everybody? I'm your host, JP, and this is my co host, Josh.
Everybody.
And welcome back to another episode of the Film Bros podcast. All right, Josh, today we're doing something great. I would just say, not just for you, but I guess for the fandom, okay? At this point, I feel like Doomsday, okay, Avengers Doomsday, that's what we're going to be discussing today. We finally got a trailer, all right? I hope you're excited for that as well. Finally got the trailer after discussing the concept art in one of our previous episodes as well. I have it right here on the screen for us as well to look at one more time. Doomsday's trailer, at the time of recording, it's been a couple days. All right, we gave it a couple days to kind of simmer. We're gonna watch it to get the full scope of it. We're gonna go ahead and basically review it to the best of our ability and see where Doomsday falls on our hype level for the most part. Like I said, Josh, concept art that we talked about the last time. After sitting with it for a few days here now, has it grown on you a little bit? That is Doomsday, this monumental event that possibly Endgame was back in the day. You know what I mean? I guess the most recent event I gotta say was probably Spider-Man: No Way Home, and that's probably the last one from Marvel as of recently. I don't know how you
Right.
feel about this one. Does it feel like the event, or does this feel like another MCU movie so far?
I think it I want it to feel like an event. I just haven't gotten that feeling yet. You know what I mean? Like it says Avengers and it says team up and it screams like grand setup for a finale kind of thing, but I don't know if it's there yet, bro. I don't know.
Where's the setup is the question. Where's the setup for this said finale that needs to be happening?
No, I mean like if this is the beginning of the finale and then Secret Wars is like part two, I guess it's like hand in hand.
We gotta go through a little history course, really quick, just so we can make sure that me and you are on the same page. Because I want to rock with you, right? And I want to believe Josh is the Marvel super fan that I know that he is, right? And you're not just in this for boom bang pow, but for also the film bros aspect of, is this movie going to be good? Is this movie going to be quality? And if we're going to jump into this trailer, I want us to be on that same page. So Doomsday was not in the cards originally, as we all remember, right? We all remember at one point Jonathan Majors' King the Conqueror was supposed to be our big bad, our big bad to the finale. You know what I mean? That set up, you know what I'm saying? To that
Yeah.
was supposed to be Kang. We started getting down to brass taxes. He got his ass whooped by an ant. Got his, he got some court proceedings with a woman. And then he fell off the face of the earth. Here and there he'll make comments about the whole Kang thing or whatever, but that made Kevin Feige, as soon as he was figured out to be guilty, they gave him their way out. Like I said, Kang on one hand got beat up by ants and was being ridiculed all over the internet, and then Jonathan Majors was over here fighting with a woman. And then, he lost on that part, and that made the internet as well. And then Kevin Feige said, two L's in reality and fiction, we're on out of here. Decided to go a different direction altogether. For a good moment there, we did not know what was happening. But then at San Diego Comic-Con, we saw RDJ come out and basically say Doom is going to be the big bad for this universe. Doomsday is going to be the new Avengers film, right? I think the quote that he said was new mask, same task, whatever the fuck that meant. And here we are now. A totally retooled Avengers film that was originally gonna be a Kang movie directed by Destin Daniel Cretton, and it's gonna be interesting to see because we do have a Destin Daniel Cretton movie coming out pretty soon that is also a Marvel film, and the hype levels are 10 times different. Let's just say for the both of these films, but for that little rehistory telling, Josh, how do we feel now about this Doomsday roster, a ragtag team of randoms?
All right, man. Look, it was a bumpy ride to get here, but we're here. So we just gotta take it as it is. You know what I mean? We can't dwell on the past and all that stuff. Even though I did like Jonathan Majors King, we just can't dwell on that stuff no more.
Yeah, no. One thing that I did not get to, to do when we saw this concept art was read some of the comments that were under the post. And, I thought today, before we get into the actual trailer, we could do a couple of those posts. We won't read this first one because it's from the Ultimate Glazer himself. We're just going to keep going down. We have a picture of Steve Rogers. Right next to him is a cyborg that says regular dude.
Regular dude.
I don't know. It sounds like you understand.
Yeah, they're just calling him. They're just calling him like a regular guy, basically. That's
this
all
says here, this lineup is low key ass. With those black guy laughing. This one says here, one of the worst lineups in any of these movies. Could that possibly be true? I don't know. Not even the artist can paint the actors in a way that made them look like they wanted to be there.
That's fucked up.
A little fucked up. They have a picture of the Thunderbolts right here on the side, and it says, "Who the hell are these people?"
Holy LARP. They were not watching. They weren't paying attention. They weren't there for that.
This is something you'd see in Skibbity Toilet.
No, it's not. That's a little stupid.
Steve looks like he came to save the multiverse right after his shift from bouncing at the club. Sebastian Stan is right here. It says, "Bro does not know what's going on." Not 100%, but I mean, somebody is praising Cyclops. I mean, that's something that a little positivity in this messed up world, I guess. But yeah, so this concept art, I said it. We have, like I said, we talked about this in a previous episode. The biggest thing was it does seem like a lot of these people are kind of glued together. Nobody here is a cohesive team besides maybe the new Avengers. X-Men, it's a bunch of rosters of nobodies or a bunch of randos, right? How Channing Tatum finagled his way into an Avengers film, the world may never know. One minute his movie wasn't coming off the ground, the next minute he's on the Avengers concept art. So it's an interesting feat. But yeah, we do have to kind of point out the elephant in the room, and is that the concept art made no sense, right? And this whole Avengers Doomsday thing is basically all glued together in hopes that, it basically works at this point. Avengers Doomsday did release pre-sale tickets when the trailer dropped. The first day racked up 16.5 million. Now, I know what everybody's thinking. Wow, that's a lot. I know. Variety made it sound like a lot, too. So I had to go back and do some digging of my own. I was kind of curious what an Avengers event film would possibly rack up, right? So if you go back to, I would say, Endgame, that made about 120 million in advanced ticket sales on the first day. And I was like, okay, that's the closest Avengers film. Let's think about something that's closer that I kind of personally feel that is being talked about more than Avengers Doomsday itself, and that's Spider-Man Brand New Day. Now, they did not release the numbers for this, but they are deeming this as like the biggest first day ticket pre-sales in the last 5 years, and apparently it's going up there with like passing the Odyssey, surpassing Mandalorian Grogu, Project Hail Mary. Last time we seen these kind of numbers with Spider-Man was with No Way Home. That basically managed to sell about, I would say, about Avengers Endgame money as the same thing. So I'm assuming Brand New Day is basically doing Endgame dollars at this point. Doomsday does not seem to be having that same motion at this point. And you could kind of
apples to oranges, bro.
No, hold on. Whoa. One can argue Spider-Man is Spider-Man, and then Avengers is Avengers. You have so many Avengers. It should be, kind of that argument. Superman, Batman should make $1 billion easy. Shouldn't the Fantastic Four, the X-Men, shouldn't, the new Avengers, Doom, Shouldn't that really bring in about $1 billion? $2 billion? That's at least $2 billion, I feel.
Well, I mean, yeah, but this is pre-sale tickets for their Infinity Vision stuff that's sold out within like an hour. So yes, but also no because they don't have Spider-Man pool. So I don't know.
Um, this doesn't say anything about Infinity Vision. I mean, if that's something separate, that's something separate. But as of right now, this is all first day ticket sales about 16.5.
Go back up. They include IMAX. They include IMAX, the most
Ambitious. So it's including everything. The Avengers Doomsday, the IMAX one. It's also including almost including their Infinity Vision.
Well, yeah, because they don't have IMAX. They Dune basically has all the IMAX.
Yeah, so they made up something for themselves called Infinity Vision.
Right. Yeah.
Which
Some dumb shit
what
like
does that
that.
really do? But it is what it is. A marketing stunt is a marketing stunt. You got to do what you got to do. While Dune could be like, watch it in the biggest screen that you can, 70 millimeter IMAX. Boom. Marvel only could say, "Hey, I got Infinity Vision."
Here's vibrant colors, bro.
We're gonna have to see in the trailer if that actually happens.
I don't know, man. I don't know. I mean, impressive, but also we know the state that they're in, and they don't have like Spider-Man pool. So
Again,
yeah, I
I
don't
mean,
know.
you're dancing around it. I'm willing to answer and talk about this, but you got to kind of give it to me straight up, all right? Spider-Man Brand New Day numbers are breaking records for the first day pre-sales.
It's because it's
Understandably,
Spider-Man.
that's going to be coming up pretty soon, right? But Avengers Doomsday, it's going to be happening pretty soon as well. I believe. When's the release date for this movie?
The 18th of December.
The 18th of December. So we're less than we're about 4 months away, right? Something like that.
Right.
Brand New Day is about two weeks away. So it's like I understand the hype is there for Spider-Man because it's right there, but I would assume an Avengers movie would be moving like they were back in Infinity War days because it does have the Avengers logo. Doomsday's on there as well. I mean, yeah, we know the real thing, right? We obviously know, hey, they got to make up certain things. You got to make some love to the audience because they've been feeling a little loveless. So it's like they're making up. They got a big shoes to fill, especially with this trailer. Is my main point with all this conversation.
I
Avengers
don't know,
Doomsday
man.
should have been doing some numbers. Like it should have been the biggest release of 2026 off its name alone. But we do understand that Marvel's been going through a slump, like a little bit of a slump lately. It's trying to pick itself up. It's been doing it little by little, gaining the trust of the audience back. But I don't know how much of a trust you're giving us. If in a way you're kind of thinking like I mean, all these cameos and everything. And I mean, if you look back at this poster or this concept art, we have all the characters to make up for an Avengers film, but we don't have all the back story behind it. We don't have any kind of weight behind all this. There's nothing that grounds us to this. So I'm hoping when we get into the trailer, it gives us a reason to give a shit. Am I right? Is that
Right.
is that fair? Is that a fair thing to say?
Yeah, I suppose that's fair. Yeah.
And one thing that we are going to talk about is Doom, and that's one big question mark for a lot of people. I know some people are saying he doesn't have enough build up. Some people are saying, we don't need build up for certain villains, and we were kind of saying that with DCU's Dark Side, but some people were like, "Oh, you need multiple movies to make it team up." Boom, 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 boom. But goalpost is apparently moving as time moves on. We're gonna have to talk about that when it comes down. But Josh, it is time for us to walk into the trailer. Avengers Doomsday. We have a little bit of conversation in the back end, and then we're gonna wrap it up. This one should not take too long. But Josh, what are you expecting from this trailer to basically bring your hopes high? What is gonna bring the hype level up to 10? Basically, say I'm there. Pre-sale tickets. Did you buy pre-sale tickets yet?
I did not buy
That's right,
pre-sale
you did not,
tickets.
because nobody is excited for this film, unfortunately. But
No.
if
What? No.
what is gonna get you to buy pre-sale tickets? What do they need to show you?
I think I just think this trailer has to just be good, and it has to blow me out the water, and it has to like make me feel like I'm heading into something big. You know what I mean? Like that's kind of how it has to feel grand, if that makes sense.
For me, I need to know. Well, I think that lands on your little category where you're saying like it needs to feel grand, but I need the story to mean something. Because as of right now, all we know is there's a bunch of people in this movie. Doom's in this movie. And that's basically it. We don't know any kind of motivation, no intentions. I mean, we didn't even get him in Fantastic Four. I just need to know what this movie has something, and it's not just like, unfortunately, like Deadpool and Wolverine, where like it was nice, it was a good cameo fest and everything like that, but ultimately the story was kind of not the strongest aspect of that movie. You know what I'm saying? So I'm hoping that something really, really grand is gonna happen here. So, you ready?
Yeah, man. I was gonna say one can hope. Let's go.
All right.
Something's coming. Something we may not be able to deter. Before this day is done, we shall be faced with an unthinkable decision.
I've fought with many warriors in my time. They were far stronger than all of us put together, and they died. They died facing enemies and threats that scared me far less than this one. Everything that they sacrifice will be for nothing if we do not stand together. Put aside your petty squabbles and presume nothing except this. If you return, you will return as brothers and sisters. But mark my words. We're going to need a miracle.
Hey, pal.
It's not possible.
Infinity Vision 12/18/26. So it's gonna be coming out right before Christmas. You get all your toys being smashed together right before Christmas dinner. It must be nice. Okay. All right, Josh, where do we start in all this, man? Where do we start? Talk to me.
All right. I think we start with Doom and how he looks and how he sounds, and RDJ as him is pretty good so far.
Okay. Okay. I did like the voice. The voice was nice. Can't cap. Nice. Okay. We only got the beginning though. We didn't get really much from him throughout the trailer. You know what I mean?
Right.
It sounds like he has a little remorse for what he needs to do. Is this kind of like another Thanos thing where it's like he needs to kill people and he feels sorry for doing it? You know what I mean? But not really, kind of thing. I'm not too sure, what the intentions could be. One thing I gotta say though, after seeing some of those AI videos, or at least some of the videos of the leaks and everything like that, obviously it seems like those leaks were kind of real. I gotta say, some of this movie kind of feels like AI in a way too. I don't know why. I don't know if it's just the time that we live in or something, but this doesn't seem real. This movie doesn't seem
Okay.
real to me. It kind of
Interesting.
feels like a fan edit.
I think when you get to like backgrounds like this, yeah, because it's just him standing in the middle of a field.
What would this look like? Like the void, kind of?
Yeah, they're probably in the void.
Like, am I not tripping? Like, okay, first of all, Sam know he gonna be losing his job, right? Do you know he gonna die in here? He doesn't have the serum. What the fuck is he gonna do? Oh, that's right. Nobody cares because he went up against the Red Hulk.
He's gonna throw his shield.
Huh?
He's gonna throw the shield.
If Doom doesn't throw that motherfucker back and slice him in half like they did Peggy Rogers, that's gonna be, or Peggy Carter, whatever the hell. They gotta. Sorry, Sam got to go. Look at Bucky, so upset right next to him. Like, damn, that shield should have been mine. If I would have had that right now, I probably would have been able to whoop this guy's ass.
That's crazy. I think it's funny that Sam's lineup of the Avengers is just what? Thor, Ant-Man, and the Wasp.
I think we got a good look at all three. Oh, right here, all three of the teams, right? Yeah.
Yeah, Thunderbolts, that's four, and then Avengers.
Ant-Man, Thor, yeah, Bucky. Got the Fantastic Four. Thunderbolts over here are the Avengers. Is his shield always gonna just be folded? Like, is that?
Oh yeah, what the fuck?
Is his shield just gonna always just forever just be folded? He's just never gonna get it fixed. Like, it's just not gonna. If that's some kind of gag that we get against Doom, I'm gonna be so upset. I don't know.
I'm
he was
hoping that
holding
it
for
gets fixed.
He's been holding it for so long, and if that happens, I'm upset.
I'm hoping that it gets fixed.
Does this movie feel real to you?
Yeah.
No,
Yeah,
that didn't even sound
but it's
believable.
also
Anybody who's
it
listening to that
feels
yeah
real.
was the most unbelievable yeah I've
It
ever heard in my life.
it feels real. It's just not what you expect because there's no heavy hitters on this team outside of like Thor and Bob, I think. And now Captain America too, but I think Doom might wipe the floor with half these motherfuckers.
I don't expect Florence Pugh to survive any of this. There's no way, right?
I don't expect Sam surviving. What the hell?
And give it a bean with me, bro. Like, I need to understand, like, power scaling here. Shouldn't Shang-Chi wipe the floor with Channing Tatum's gambit? Like, I understand he got hands or whatever, but, like, there shouldn't be no chance, right? Like, that shouldn't.
I mean, Gambit is more combat ready in Deadpool. Shang-Chi is definitely a lot more hand-to-hand combatant. I mean, I would give it to Shang-Chi, but as you can tell, they're clearly no match for each other because the power that they have. So maybe.
I think he should be winning. Where's Daredevil in all this? Shouldn't he have a hand in all this? Shouldn't he be
What is he
going up
gonna
against
do?
Doom?
Oh yeah, he's gonna whoop Doom's ass. This guy.
You don't think? What about the Punisher? What the fuck? Where is he at? He's going up against Hulk. I think he's able to go up against Doom. Should we not have him on the Avengers team?
There's a lot of people missing this time too, and it feels like it shouldn't be because we have all the people back under the umbrella.
Didn't we get a chair of like everybody that's supposed to be in this movie?
Remember the photo that they posted with the people right next to him? So it's the fucking Thunderbolts that are by him. Remember we said like there was too much empty space right there? It's because the Thunderbolts are with him.
That's right, the Thunderbolt. Oh, so they took him off on that little teaser trailer that we had, huh? I forgot about that.
Yeah.
So it was the Thunderbolts, possibly somebody else right here in the cut too. They cut him out in the little background. They're doing a good job of cutting certain people out and everything like that. Like I said, I mean, this is basically, is that Mr. Fantastic stretching, holding the way for Florence Pugh? Yeah.
Yeah.
He's like holding Sam's shield back or something.
Damn. She gonna turn into Yelena and get her ass whooped or beat her ass anyway. I'm excited to see them too. I know it's been like, oh, we see Charles every day getting fucking obliterated on screen and stuff, but I can't wait to see them again.
It was good to
Char
see Catherine Newton's still here. She didn't get recasted. Yay! She made it. She made it.
But she won't be in the movie, so
Is this passing on the mantle, or is Scott not making it back?
I think that's what they want you to think.
I wonder why they're in the. Do you think that it's just the Namor just making a bubble for everybody to basically meet? Like, hey, we need to all talk. We need a little space here.
Yeah. In the middle of nowhere where no one can hear or listen to him, yeah.
Mm-hmm. I'm trying to see what was in the background when like this guy came down. Oh, okay. Mystique is fighting. Florence Pugh, guy Captain America, Mr. Fantastic's right there. I mean, like I said, we're talking about everything else except what this movie's about. And I think that's the problem. We don't know what this movie's about still. What is this movie about? What are we doing here? Like what is this movie about? Tell me.
The X-Men and the Avengers are teaming up to fight Doom.
But doesn't
What
that
happens
already
in
look
between? What happens in between needs to be discussed later, I guess.
I'm gonna save a lot of people some tickets right now, okay? Oh, incursions. Avengers, X-Men. You're bad. No, you're bad. Ping, ping, ping. Doom in the background. Oh, it was me all along. Haha. Pulling strings. And then they're like, oh no, he's gonna decimate. I'm assuming that he should kill half of these guys. He should kill a good portion of these people. Okay? I'm not saying maybe Bucky, but I'm saying Sam, he's dead. All right, his little bird buddy, dead. Okay, Scott Lang, the Langs, the Bloodline's dead if she's going in there too. Okay, hopefully she's not gonna run into that, but if she is, she's dead as well. Okay, you're not gonna tell me Red Guardian's gonna put up a fight against that man. No, there's no way. He's dead. Okay, Shuri, dead probably. Maybe put up a good fight. Probably gonna die. Mystique, dead. Magneto. He's crunching him. Okay? It's over. Half these people gotta die, right? Like a good portion. Like who could survive? The Thing, he got to die, right? Like that he's dead. Human Torch, he's dead.
Everybody that's human is dead.
A good chunk of these people are dead on this side.
I think the only ones that I would really be excited to see fight though is Bob and Thor. That's about it.
Okay, well Bob is gonna obviously be the secret weapon. I feel like
Right.
he could probably put a cap on him, but then I feel like Doom is gonna figure out a way out of that too.
If the Avengers, or no, I guess if the Avengers and the X-Men don't work out, they can just send in the Fantastic Four in, right? And like have them duke it out again.
Well, it'll be the original matchup, right? And they should be able to. They should be able to deal, some damage. But I'm assuming if it's gonna take the X-Men and the Avengers, I'm assuming a good chunk of the Fantastic Four team is not equipped to handle the fight. You know what I'm saying?
Not by themselves, but together, they get it done. That's the point.
No. But what I'm saying is, okay, if he mows down Thor, there's no way. Like, he was able to stop an axe from Thor. There's no way the Thing has any chance against Doom. There's no way the Human Torch has any chance against Doom. Maybe Sue, maybe Pedro, but we saw in his movie if he stretches too far, he's probably gonna snap. I don't know. We gotta figure that out still. Nobody in this room, in my head, should survive.
Right. Just clear the board. Clear the fucking board. I mean, this is a really ragtag team here when you think about it.
To
Like, not
put
just
him
the X-Men.
to put him up against Doom, I would think so. Like this isn't just like random, you know?
Right. You get Steve, Sam, Bucky, Yelena, um, John, fucking Red Guardian. Like, you get a good chunk of these people, and after that, they don't look like they're ready for a fight. That's the way I feel.
Like I mean, you could kind of be like, okay, when Thanos came down, oh, how did Captain America was able to hold his own against him with 4 Infinity Stones or whatever, blah blah. Like, we can understand those little ones because Thanos has to give a shit to want to kill you or whatever. But like Doom seems like he's gonna want to like decimate everything. Like this is kind of like what Ultron was in the What If series and stuff like that. You know what I mean? Like he's gonna want everything done. So I don't know. I don't know. From my standpoint though, I'm not super excited for this movie. I kind of feel like I was hoping that this was gonna bring a little bit more. I know some people were like, what if he says Hail Hydra here? Well, there's no way, because I mean, he wouldn't be able to have the power to get the hammer, right? Like that would just wouldn't.
Well, apparently, you don't need to be like good and all that stuff to be worthy. You just have to be worthy. So if you're bad and you're worthy, you're like that works apparently.
Okay.
The hammer can't tell the difference.
So we got to ask the question, okay, could it also be because Doom did not have enough build-up time for this Avengers movie?
Who cares about build up, bro? If they can do it in 2 movies, why not? Let them try.
I understand, but okay, so this is where like the argument came in for me, where it's like, the build up with the whole DCEU stuff, right? And I was like, okay, the DCEU, everybody was saying that, hey, we needed more time with these characters to get the Justice League together and blah blah blah, right? We said no, you could do it with less, right? But I feel like that was the beginning of the DCEU. You know what I mean? Like that was the start. Like you could start any way that you want. We're in the middle, so you don't necessarily have wiggle room to be like, okay, we're gonna shoot this, and if it doesn't work, we gotta pivot. You know what I mean? Like, what if Doom is not the character that's gonna bring people to sit in the seats? And what if they doesn't, if the story doesn't make sense for a lot of people for them to sit in the seats? Because in my head, off the trailer, Doom going up against these people, it just seems like he'll just flick his wrist and just push half these guys away and just be like, okay, I'm still going about my way.
I mean, I don't agree with the whole build up stuff, bro. That's kind of how things go. You know what I mean? You could read several different comic books and a bad guy not show up. You know what I mean? Until the very end, it happens.
But there's an underlying thing, right? Thanos, he was only a payoff because he wasn't the front and center, but there was an underlying threat throughout the series, right? And here there hasn't been an underlying threat. He's just kind of popped up.
Mm.
So maybe
just because you don't need them. You don't need all that.
Well, maybe you're on the side with John Campea over here because he's here to defend the whole Doomsday not having enough time for build up here.
The single greatest villain in cinematic history is Darth Vader. You did not need 3 movies building up Darth Vader before you made Star Wars: A New Hope. You just had to have Vader. Hans Gruber is one of the greatest villains in cinematic history, played by the late, great Alan Rickman. Hans Gruber is one of the greatest villains in cinematic history. You did not need 2 or 3 movies building up Hans Gruber before bringing him in and making him one of the all-time greatest cinematic villains. You did not need build up for it. I mean, just about any movie with a great villain, of which there have been many, you never needed build up. If you need build up, then you don't know how to write a good movie. If you can't write a great, compelling villain without having 2 or 3 movies of build up, then you don't deserve to be a screenwriter.
So, I mean, again, he's naming movies, but he's naming movies that basically came out and started swinging since the very beginning. Okay? And where I can agree, Darth Vader, Hans Gruber, yeah, I can agree. Doomsday, Doom, all that stuff, there's nothing saying that there's anything threatening about this character to a general audience perspective. Like, okay, if you read some comics or you've seen Doom before, you can kind of get a little bit of grasp that he is a badass or whatever. If the actor does him justice, if RDJ does him really good, he can become a classic. I'm not saying that. What I'm saying is, from a story perspective, this kind of seems from left field. And how do you connect the dots and justify it in a 2-hour movie, possibly, if they're generous with us, a 2-hour movie? How are you going to justify it in a 2-hour movie that Doom's here to basically kill everybody or basically destroy the whole planet when, like I said, this ain't the beginning of Marvel. The beginning of Marvel happened with Thanos, and we had an underlying threat that whole time. They even understood the assignment because they tried it again. Unfortunately, those first plans failed, and they had to pivot. But here we are at the pivot point, and this is not. I don't think this is the same thing as a Darth Vader or Hans Gruber and all that stuff. This is a completely apples to oranges kind of thing. So,
but how if the beginning and all that stuff, this movie sets him up to be the big bad like he's supposed to.
Okay.
I mean, what stopping Thor's hammer with his fingers, it wasn't cool enough.
okay, I'm gonna be honest. As somebody who does not read the comic books, okay, and I'm only going based off Endgame, all the Infinity War, basically what we got with Marvel, okay? If Stormbreaker is the ultimate fucking thing where he could basically mow down Thanos with 5 Infinity Stones, it's supposed to be way stronger, in my opinion, than what Doom can do. And yeah, he can get the runes and he could become stronger later on or whatever, blah, blah, blah. But, like I said, we don't know that within the MCU. All we have information for is what Thor did with Thanos and blah, 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 blah. And then, what we basically got within Phase 4 and whatnot and blah, blah, blah.
Okay.
Now, you expect me to believe that this guy, who we've not seen at all, can easily one-stop the Stormbreaker that we saw was basically the ultimate god killer.
Yeah, because Doctor Doom has magic, basically.
And I understand that, but from a general audience perspective, right? Like, if I'm confused and I'm trying to keep track with all this stuff, if I get a little bit confused, what do you think everybody else is going to think, right? So I'm like, in my head, you're right. You don't need movies to build you up, but those movies were made in the beginning. Those movies had intense stories from the beginning that led and basically paved the way for the classics that we basically got. Doom has not been, Thanos is even a classic at this point, but there was build-up for that guy. Doom has not had that build-up. We have not gotten to that point. We haven't even mentioned him, besides maybe Fantastic Four, and that was only by name. Listen, but that was only by name.
Yeah, but what buildup are we talking about that Thanos got? We only got him in post-credit scenes. We just knew he was coming. That's about it. Pause. But you just know that he was on his way.
That's why.
and then he showed up for 2 movies, and Josh Brolin did that.
No, he was in Guardians of the Galaxy. What are you talking about?
But yeah, but for fucking sitting there in his high ass chair, he didn't do anything.
But he basically, like, it was a taste of what was happening. So that underlying thing was basically helping us understand that in the background, he's stronger than all these people, and he's powering up, and eventually we're gonna get to that point. Same
Doesn't
thing,
that
that's
st-
again,
wouldn't
that's
that
what they were
mean
trying
like
to do with Kang as well.
yeah, but wouldn't that mean like every bad guy needs build up? You know what I mean? Like if that's the case, like do we need to see all these characters have
Let me ask you
build
something.
up?
Do you think the prequels are necessary in Star Wars?
It, if you're looking for a deeper stuff, no.
It's
You
just
could watch the trilogy.
again,
You could watch
I was gonna
the
get to
original
that. It
trilogy
was
by
just a yes
itself.
or no answer. Do you think that we needed
The
the
no.
prequels? No, right?
No.
Do you want lore? Did you want to know where Darth Vader came from? Right? You wanted all the little
Sure.
aspects and everything. You know, you could leave it to imagination, but you would want answers eventually on where he came from, right? So in a sense, they were gonna happen regardless because people are gonna want those things. Same thing with Thanos. People were gonna want those things eventually. You plant the seeds, people are gonna look into them. We're gonna know who they are. Doom has not had that time to sit and fester and basically show us that hey, he is gonna be some kind of big bad when it comes down time to it. And then eventually, yeah, if you want to start with him, and then yeah, if the movie's a smash hit, and then we build off of that. But it's a weird situation, like I said, because it's a completely different situation. Marvel is in the middle of their cinematic universe. They're not in the beginning. They're not at the end, apparently. They're right in the middle. And after seeing multiple, trip ups and getting back up and everything like that, at this point, there's no room for failure. I think that, if you were going to do something like this, it had to be a home run. And as of right now, it does not feel like that home run that Marvel desperately needs.
I don't agree, bro.
Fantastic Four did not do good.
Okay.
It did.
I mean, well enough for a
It
sequel,
lost
sure.
to Superman.
Okay. Superman wasn't that good either. So that's the thing.
Okay,
They do
so,
just
a
enough
second
to
ago
make
you
a
were gonna
sequel. Like
defend the movie. Now you're saying, okay, they were both shit movies. Josh,
Well,
we gotta
I
pick a
don't
lane
care.
here, okay?
I
understand
don't
Doomsday
care
is gonna
about
be boom,
Superman.
bang, pow, and your toys are gonna smash together, and I can sympathize for you having to go against that just a little bit here. But we gotta be real, right? If Fantastic Four lost out to Superman, all right, Marvel is, in my opinion, struggling. Okay, you're not gonna tell me a movie like Fantastic Four, which as good as it was, you can admit there were some flaws there as well.
I thought it was great.
But you cannot tell me that Superman was able to surpass this movie, and that Marvel's just been hitting nothing but on the money thing, on the money like swings, especially when both of us can even say that movie could have possibly benefited from Doom being in there to help build up Doomsday. We've talked.
I would have agreed.
That, right?
I would agree. Yes, I do think Doom should have showed up there. I think a post credit scene doesn't help anything like that. All we know is that he probably kidnapped their kid, and then that's it. That's where it's leading us to. But I don't think we need that much buildup. I don't know. I don't think we needed all that.
Okay, all right. Again,
Especially in
I don't think
Marvel's
we need
case.
all that much buildup, but we should have had at least, like I said, one movie to basically kind of show us that he's coming up, not a post credit scene, not a name drop, and even then, the post credit scene could have been anybody.
We know it was Doom, bro. Come on, bro. We know it was Doom. Come on. You don't gotta you don't gotta sprinkle it. No. Wait, but like that's the thing. They also spent way too much time after Jonathan Majors covering up Kang and then plastering Doom's stuff on there. So I agree Marvel has its own problems. But I also think We don't need that much build up for Doom. We know if you know anything about anything, you know Doctor Doom. You know who he is. You know what he's capable of.
Let me ask you something. You're a general audience member, okay? The only knowledge that you have of Doom was from 2004 and 2015,
Okay.
Fan 4 Stick.
Okay.
Do I know enough to know who this guy is when he walks on Doomsday? When he walks out in Doomsday?
I would say yeah.
Without comic book knowledge, you watch Fan 4 Stick, right? You remember
You watched two. You watched two. Okay, in the first Fantastic Four, that Doctor Doom was hidden. That was great. What they didn't give you much from the Latveria and all that stuff. Sure, that's more comic heavy, but you understand that he's best friends with Reed. He had a thing for Sue. He becomes evil once he gets his powers, whatever. I would say that's pretty close. Dude. I think you get pretty close there.
And before we move it on, so we can start wrapping this up, I'm just gonna say this, okay? You have that information, right? The little things from Doom. But now we get RDJ's face smacked on there.
It's still Doctor Doom. That's the thing. We like if they would have saved that reveal.
Confusing. You gotta admit it is confusing. It's
No,
gonna confuse a lot of people. It's gonna confuse a lot of people.
Obviously, and they're gonna have to explain that kind of stuff. But you know what Doctor Doom is or whatever. Does it really matter who's behind the mask?
Mm-hmm.
If they would have saved that reveal, I'm sure that would have saved their ass a little bit more. But we know why they did that. We know that they're nostalgia baiting, whatever. That's a whole other thing. But like you picture Doctor Doom, all you picture is the mask and all that stuff. You don't care about who's underneath it, really. He doesn't even sound like RDJ. That's the crazy part.
You do care who's underneath. Oh well, I mean, unless they're literally gonna keep the mask on his face the whole movie, fine. But I'm pretty sure a studio is still a studio, and they're not gonna help themselves. They're paying top dollar for that face. They're gonna want to show the face. If not in present day, flashbacks.
Well, yeah, they're gonna explain why this version of Doom exists and why he wears Tony's face or whatever. They're gonna have to explain that, but you know Doctor Doom regardless. You know that once you strip away whatever they're gonna do,
have time
it's
to
Doom.
Explain that in a cameo fest movie that is 2 hours. So you telling me that this
What's
movie,
a cameo fest movie? What's it? Hold on. This is an
Wolverine.
Avengers movie.
Deadpool and Wolverine?
Okay, that's not what this is though. This is an Avengers movie. These are all people in that are important to the film.
It's all these people. You tell me who these people are.
That's the new Avengers.
Movie. You tell me who these
The
people
Avengers, Fantastic Four, X-Men, Loki in the middle. Like if you were watching, you know who these people are. The only ones getting into the mix of all this are the X-Men. And even then, you know who they are. You know that's Scott Summers. You know that's Beast. You know that's Magneto. You know that's Charles. You know that's Nightcrawler, Mystique, Gambit.
I feel like we were having a good, unbiased conversation in the beginning, but I feel like you're leaning to. I feel like after the trailer, the smashing the toys together really got you. I'm down for smashing the toys together, but we gotta be honest here. There's nothing in this movie that screams a cohesive movie. There's nothing in this movie that screams that, hey, we don't need any kind of buildup. I think this movie would have benefited 100% from what you're saying, possibly in the Fantastic Four movie leading up to something like this. You know, he couldn't have been the main character or the main villain or whatever, but he could have been slowly plotting in the background that would have really led to something monumental here in Doomsday. We don't know anything about him. With Thanos, we knew at least that he wanted to wipe half the universe, and there was a reason behind it.
You learned that in Infinity War. That's not fair.
Again, You could possibly put this up with the whole hype train and everything that was leading up to Infinity War and all that stuff. But everybody basically knew about the snap because it was such a big thing. There was so much build up to Thanos and given enough time for people to understand and nourish that and, you know, really build it up, that even the casuals knew that eventually this was going to happen. Everybody knew that shit. Because it was in the comic books. I even knew that shit. I wasn't even into the movies that deep before. I was just casually watching them. And I knew that because of the little things and how long it took for it to build up. At this point, you have no time. Zero time. There's nothing that points to this should have even happened. This group should have even exist. I don't understand it.
But we know that, but we also understand that something's coming, Doom, and these guys all have to stop it. That's the thing. You said cameo fest. That's what I'm trying to understand.
Deadpool
What
Wolverine.
about these? What about these? That they're not even here. They're not in this picture. Who are you talking about? If these are all key players and these are the Avengers we're working with, they're not cameo fest. That's like saying Black
Well, I'm
Widow's
not saying- I'm
a
not saying
cameo.
them. I'm saying that what do you call it? That Marvel basically is kind of doing that in a way because of Deadpool and Wolverine. That was a cameo fest, and I mean, I could prove it. Steve Rogers is right here. We have not seen him for a whole 2 phases. Gambit's right here. We only seen him in a movie before. Okay, Nightcrawler's here. Ant-Man. I mean, sure, throw him in the mix. M'Baku, what is he even? Why? I mean, I understand that you put the sidekicks on there, but why? You know what I'm saying? I'm actually
He's the
surprised
king
we didn't
of
get, I'm
Wakanda.
actually surprised we didn't get Aquafina right here next to Shang-Chi. I feel like at one point she was standing right here, and they just kind of edited her out.
No, what? Okay, okay, but that's the thing. We haven't seen them, so there's a reason why they're here. That explains why they're in the film. We didn't know those cameos were happening in Deadpool and Wolverine until you seen them. We didn't know we were gonna get Chris Evans, Johnny Storm until we seen him. That's a cameo. He was insignificant. These guys clearly play a role in the story. The Russo brothers said that they're gonna play on Steve and Tony's relationship or whatever. So this is gonna play a part. That's not a
I think
cameo.
in a 2-hour movie, every single one of these people are going to have a storyline. You think we're gonna fulfill every single storyline in this movie with all these people on here? Are you telling me that half these motherfuckers are not gonna die?
I don't think we're. I mean, I don't know.
They
I don't
are
think
gonna
half.
die.
That's the point.
The
The point is that
they're on the poster because they don't have anybody to show you. So they're gonna show you these people in hopes that you buy ticket. Hello, hey, Shang-Chi, Channing Tatum's gonna be there. Oh my God,
Yes.
get it. Come look.
okay, yeah, but
at
that's
the
what we're
end of the
talking
day,
about.
All these motherfuckers are not gonna walk out of here. Half these motherfuckers are just gonna be background characters.
Oh yeah, I'm pretty sure Charles and Magneto they're gonna go out in a blaze of glory. I'm sure the X-Men universe is gonna fucking implode on itself because of the whatever Doom is doing to the incursions are doing whatever fucking thing they're making up. But you're saying cameo
Multiverse of-
fest. If they
Multiverse
fulfill
of Madness was also a cameo fest too.
their duty in the film, whether they bite the dust or not, they are still part of the film. That's the difference. That's the thing. Cameo versus being integral part of the story. That's the 2 different things. Steve Evans, Human Torch, cameo. Tobey Maguire in No Way Home, integral part of the story. That's not a cameo.
Glorified cameo.
No, that's not how that works. That's
Without-
not what that means. No.
Without Tobey Maguire Spider-Man, it would have possibly went down the same. You don't.
Yeah,
you
but
didn't
they
didn't need
chose
those
to
two
bring him in
Spider-Men.
to
They
teach
just
him
put
stuff.
him in there for butts and seats. You didn't need those two.
Nostalgia baiting is part of that, but they are still integral part of the story.
Okay, I feel like we're on the same page, but you're trying to defend this movie, and I understand the whole defense, but I feel this exactly what you're saying is this. It is this.
Okay, no, because you can nostalgia bait and still make these characters part of the integral part of the story. If they were to be like, oh, hi, bye, and then that's it, that's a cameo. Beast at the end of the Marvels, that's a cameo. Because he doesn't do anything. He just shows up to be like, oh, she ended up here. Hi, bye. You remember me? Hi, bye. And then that's it.
So you're telling me we never had movies where the character is on the poster and they've only been on there for like 2 minutes of screen time. Hi, bye. Does that make them a main character still?
What? Okay. If we're talking side character, someone that leaves the hero's side because
I'm
the
using
hero's
your
doing
logic.
great big things.
I just gave you an answer. I need an answer back. If you have characters, and they've had characters before where they're on the poster and they're only in the movie for about 2 minutes. The Odyssey is probably a good example because I feel like there's probably a couple characters in there that are only having like a couple minutes of screen time according to certain sources and whatnot. But they're still on the poster. They're still technically main characters. I'm not saying they're cameos because we don't know them like that. But like I said, Marvel's in this unique position where they're basically able to pull from different parts and dress it up in a different way, but it's still the same thing. You know what I mean? It's still the same thing, and the only reason why it makes it that cameo fest is because these characters, we don't know them. We know them by name, we know that who they are or whatever, and we know that they're going to be in the movie, and then we know that they're going to fight. But what is this movie about? What are we doing here at the end of the day?
Yes. Okay. Now we can get to that because we don't know anything. We don't know Doom's motivation. We just know he's stopping incursions. What the fuck is an incursion? We only heard that like once or twice throughout the whole multiverse stuff that they were talking about. How are we getting a multiverse movie or whatever? But the two people that can multiverse hop aren't here, Wanda and America Chavez. Where the fuck are they at?
Mm-hmm.
Like,
all I'm
yes.
hearing is that this movie could benefit from maybe a movie to basically explain a little bit of that.
Yeah, but they're choosing to use a lot of the buildup that they had, and I'm sure Loki is gonna explain that shit too. Like, the movie is gonna have to explain itself for
And
existing
I hope
the way
they
it
had
is.
enough time to do that.
Hey, man, we're not gonna act like exposition dumps aren't Marvel's whole thing.
That
Okay,
is true.
that's
That's fair. Am I right? That is fair. So I mean, I guess to basically wrap it up, I mean, I'm excited to see what happens in this film, but I'm not excited for this film. I do think that this might be another L at this moment for Marvel. I'm gonna be standing there waiting to be holding the L sign because it doesn't seem like we know what's happening in this movie, and it doesn't seem like Marvel knows either. We know that we need the characters, we know that we need the big team up, but what is the story that we're telling that requires everybody to come together? We don't have that answer. I think a lot of people are kind of scratching their heads at that point too. So maybe Doom himself does not need build-up because he is Doom and he can become a legendary character in and himself in one movie. Yes, he can. But in a multiverse and in a MCU movie where the universe is vast and we have so many movies and all that stuff, at this moment in time, I do believe for story's sake, not for Doom the villain. I feel like that's where a lot of this thing is getting twisted. For Doom the villain, he possibly does not need a whole movie to basically build him up or whatever because you can make a big bad out of nothing, sure. But I do think story-wise, we could use a possible lead-up movie to this.
Okay.
To this
whatever they're doing with this iteration, probably could have used some build-up.
There you go. That's
okay.
That's what I like.
The movie is gonna have to explain itself, and Loki play a little bit of catch-up because Marvel was also playing catch-up post-Kang. So that's kind of where we're at. So, and like, I'm excited to see where it's going. But yeah, boy, that is a lot of hurdles.
That is a lot. It is a lot of hurdles that they have to do. So, hype level from 1 to 10, 10 being the best, 1 being the worst, 5 being the middle. On 3, Josh, 1, 2, 3.
7.
6.
I think I'm
like
at
5.
7.
5.
Yeah.
5.5.
I'm a little bit more than average. I'm still kind of in it.
Okay. 1 foot in, 1 foot out. Anything could basically push me out the door, and anything could push me in. I was hoping this trailer did it for me. Unfortunately, it's not. Let us know what you guys think, though. Check out the trailer on YouTube. Hopefully, it does something for you and helps you love this movie better. Okay. If you had any skepticism, hopefully, this made you want to go watch it. As always, we don't want to discourage watching movies, but we do want to ask the big questions like, what the hell is actually happening here? But hopefully you guys get pre-sale tickets if you guys are excited for this film. They are on sale right now. We're not sponsored, but obviously Marvel, if you always want to do something nice, go ahead and do it. Then we'll totally know what's happening in your movie 100%. With that being said, though, any topics we should be talking about, any movies you want us to review, TV shows, Josh, let me know where they could do all that and talk to us. And yeah.
Twitter, TikTok, Instagram at FilmBros Podcast. Posting episodes there. We can hit us up there for news and movies wants to cover. Bust probably link in the social. It's gave you just like a Patreon. You subscribe, you help the show go. Really appreciate it. Let's do this anywhere it's podcast at FilmBros Podcast, Spotify, YouTube Music, Apple Podcasts. Again, wherever you get your podcasts. Be part of the conversation. Twitch at FilmBros Podcast. And it's all said and done. Subscribe to our YouTube at FilmBros Podcast.
And with that being said, we'll talk to you guys on the next one.
And talk to you guys later.